Hi, this is Andrea Warner, one of the hosts of Pop This. I'm here to let you know that we at Pop This are on our holiday schedule. This means we're alternating between new episodes and classics from the vaults week to week until the end of September. This will give our team a bit of time to recharge, but it also gives you a chance to listen or re-listen to some of our all-time favorite episodes. Today we're bringing you an encore presentation of an episode that has been the source of one of our most contentious disputes, whether Eat, Pray, Love is a better movie than Under the Tuscan Sun. This episode was taped way back in 2017. We acknowledge the fact that we were all more innocent people back then. You'll have to listen to see which one of us was Team Eat, Pray, Love and which one was Team Under the Tuscan Sun. No matter how you feel about this issue, they're both solid summer movies to watch, and that's what we're all about here at Pop This, helping you program your late summer viewing. Because it's still late summer, technically, right? We hope you enjoy it. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Until then, take it easy.
You're listening to Pop This, the podcast where two women talk about everything pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen and Andrea Warner.
So I'm wondering if I should feel guilty.
Always.
Always. Just, all right, there we go. About how I choose to spend my time. I was thinking about, we had a long weekend recently.
Yes.
And I know how you used it because, well, we're friends and also I follow you on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I know you went to a big music festival.
Yeah.
And I stayed home and watched a lot of Netflix, a TV finale, and read a book that I really liked a lot.
That sounds nice.
Mostly that is what I did. There was
Yeah.
a little bit of sleeping and eating in between there.
Yes.
But I was really enjoying this Netflix series and this book I'm reading. And this book is an epic 730-page event.
Okay.
So I really have to commit.
Yeah, you got to get in there.
I've got to get in there. And, I mean, the best way to read a book is to have a good 2 or 3 hour stint, right? Like, where you're really reading it. So, not skimming.
But, like, why would you feel guilty about spending your time like that?
Well, because, people go out and they do things. Like, people are always out doing things, especially in the summer. It's nice out, right? There's a lot of pressure to be, and especially where we live in Vancouver.
Oh, yeah. I don't buy into that whole, like, oh, you live in a beautiful place, so therefore you must avail yourself of the outdoor activities. You know, when it's 30 degrees out, I don't need to do anything except take care of my own butt. Or, like, not your own butt specifically, but, like your own self.
Your own self, yeah. I know, and then I was thinking, it kind of made me think about something else, which is that if you have hobbies, which are reading, and enjoying watching TV or movies, like, there's not a lot of room for calling that a hobby. People think that is lazy. That you're just, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
you should get new people in your life, though, if that's, like...
Well, not my personal
No,
friends.
you're not personal friends.
No,
yeah, but, like, but those people that think that that's lazy...
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, are they ever going to be able to best you at a round of trivia? Are they ever going to be able to beat you at Scrabble?
No.
Are they ever going to win a category, Jeopardy, on Jeopardy while you're playing vicariously against the three people? No.
No, this will not happen. It's true.
I am going to judge... I know, I sound judgy. And it sounds maybe like
no,
it's a
okay.
judgment.
Recently, I had a very successful tweet where I said, I'm judgy when people say they don't want hot sauce.
Yeah.
I think hot sauce is an essential part of life.
Okay. I mean, I support your love of hot sauce. I do not consume it myself too much. I find it a little vinegary. Thank you.
Angry.
No, not angry. Yeah,
oh.
All hot sauce is angry. No, vinegary.
Angry is funner.
Angry
funnier.
Funner. No, it's funner. It's funner too.
It's funner.
Yeah, it's funner too. No, I just like this. Part of me. This is going into a probably. I can't speak either. My God. Anyway, probably going into a space that you weren't necessarily like veering us into, but I find because Vancouver has this sort of like overall obsession with health and at least like presenting as if you're healthy and it's like kind of like a toxic relationship with like overall concepts of health. There's so much pressure to be like, just did the gross grind, just have like I'm running my second triathlon or whatever. That's great. Like those are great things. Yeah. But because we equate certain behaviors with good and certain behaviors with bad. Yeah. And it's like this ridiculous moral binary, and it's completely stupid.
And I have a bicycle. You've seen me on my bicycle. Sure. I just choose to take it to work and back. I'm not going out on the weekend up a mountain. I'm not doing that. No. I also do yoga at my home with YouTube videos. I don't carry around my yoga mat. No. As a big advertisement for look at me. Nope. So in case you ever meet me, know that I do cycle and do yoga. Not that I need to tell anybody anything. No. But it's just sometimes you feel like you feel defensive.
No, and especially in Vancouver. Particularly, I will say absolutely. I mean, I have sort of made my peace with this as like a fat woman in Vancouver, and that's just what I've been my whole life, both a fat woman and in Vancouver. Even as a 4-year-old child, I was secretly a fat woman in a 4-year-old's body. And that's great, it's fine for me. But there's always been this sort of like, particularly when you are, say, availing yourself of one's outdoor elements. I enjoy a good hike once in a while.
Oh, sure. But every once in a while, yeah.
But people look at me when I'm on those hiking trails like, what brought you into the woods today? You should have come here sooner. Gosh. Like, whatever. There's a lot of, there is so much wrapped up in Vancouver's superficial idea of what is good and bad and what is not either of those things.
I have a coworker who was also very frustrated by what she considers to be this open season now because she smokes. Oh, yeah. So she was, waiting for a ferry, took herself far away from all the people knowing that this is what you should do, was out there just having a peaceful moment. A couple decided to come and sit down right next to her and then speak really loudly saying, "Can you believe people still smoke today? How disgusting a habit is that? Why would someone want to ruin their body that way?" And she's, if I did, it's my business. And B, I kept it away from you so it wouldn't ruin your life. Because, smokers are smart enough to know that secondhand smoke is an issue, and that's why we have areas or, banned it in certain places. But she made an effort to get somewhere. And then another time, someone else came up to her and said, smokers are often connected to depression. Would you like to have,
Wow.
Would you like to have some recommendations for some places you can get some antidepressants?
Wow. I once had someone hand me a church pamphlet to tell me that was the best way. Once they found God and once they found Jesus, they got skinny.
Yeah, see, none of us, I feel like my judgy on hot sauce, obvious people know I'm just being funny.
Yeah.
Obviously, that if that's the worst thing, but really, all those other things, people, we got to keep this to yourself. Come on, live your life.
Particularly,
enjoy your life.
I don't personally invite any commentary, man or woman or non-binary, no commentary about whether or not my physicality affects you. Yeah. Because literally,
it does not.
Unless I'm crushing you with my body, we're probably okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless I'm literally sitting on your throat. Yeah. At which point, feel free to just be like, hey, this affects me.
Well, that's it. And that actually is a really good, it doesn't even need a point. It doesn't need a PowerPoint or even a sheet of lessons. Yeah. Where, if it doesn't affect you,
shut up.
Don't say anything.
Just
exactly,
shut up.
At all. If it does not affect you. If my coworker there was out smoking in a place where she shouldn't, and children were nearby, and she, wantonly threw it out to start a bushfire.
Well, then, yes.
I would be out there as well.
Yeah.
But that's not what she was doing. That is not the activity.
No.
So, people... Maybe that's not your thing. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's okay. And I'm going to feel better next weekend when I do the exact same thing as I did last weekend.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no apologies.
Good.
You just own that.
This is a good segue into the fact that we are going to argue.
We are women.
We're going to judge each other.
We are women who are going to own our decisions.
That's right.
And we are going to embrace the life that we decide to choose for ourselves.
Damn straight.
It is an absolute segue.
Yes.
Into Under the Tuscan Sun versus Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah, and this is very exciting. And just so you know, I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Warner.
And yeah, we have decided that this is a very good battle because these are two white women on journeys.
No, they're battling themselves,
They're
really.
battling themselves.
On
Journeys
some level.
Of self-discovery.
They sure are. They
made a few years apart.
Also, these are white women writers who
there are a lot of parallels. You're right.
Wrote memoirs about their journeys of self-discovery and travel that then were turned into films, like that were made 7 years apart, both starring impossibly attractive, famous women,
with questionable wardrobes. Can we just...
Oh, for sure. Like, let's just, immediately, let's talk.
Whoever worked on the show, I'm sorry. Like, were you instructed in these movies to make them look as bad as... I know I'm jumping ahead, but... for such beautiful people.
Circa 2003 and 2010. There's so much. So, and I feel like we have been sort of circling these movies for a really long time.
Yeah.
And this, we... And we both watched these films.
Maybe again, who's to say?
I think you should say, because I have never seen these movies, and I have to confront some internalized sexism probably about why I stayed away from these movies for a long time.
Yes.
Because I think that that's a real thing, and I've certainly realized after.
You're very
that.
honest about that.
I really am. I try really hard. I'm like, well, I have a problem.
For a long time, you didn't even want me doing this podcast. You were like, no. And then breakthrough, and I'm here.
Breakthrough, such a breakthrough. Almost 100 episodes later, we're still going it. But yeah, so there's so much to talk about with these two movies. That we're going to break from sort of our usual tradition of one thing per podcast, and this is absolutely a two-parter.
It is a two-parter. There's so much. There's just so much. I mean, I suppose there's, just even what parts do you relate to? What parts don't you relate to it? Why did you not see it? Why did I?
Why did I race to the theaters? And why have I also read both books? Wait, I haven't read either book either. Have you read both books?
Okay, we're in a safe space, right?
Okay, we're going to say, a safe space.
I did not read Under the Tuscan Sun.
Okay, but you read Eat, Pray, Love.
I did read Eat, Pray, Love.
Yep.
And I did see Under the Tuscan Sun when it came out, and I did see Eat, Pray, Love when it came out.
Cool. You saw them both in theaters?
Probably. I can't remember Under the Tuscan Sun, but I do remember going to the theater to see Eat, Pray, Love.
Okay, cool. So just so people know what we're talking about, we should maybe tell a little bit about each movie.
So also we should mention that because this is a debate.
It is, yeah.
I will be honest and say that you gave me first pick.
I did. Because it seemed only fair because you've seen them both.
Right.
You came in with a knowledge and an affection.
Yeah, I did. And so
I came in being you know what, debate rules. I'm going to fight for whatever I get handed.
That's it exactly, and that's why I went first because I went with the with the right film.
with the one that's not terrible.
Yes, was so fast on this one.
Yep.
Under the Tuscan Sun.
Yeah, so that means I am defending Eat, Pray, Love, and oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Good thing I do sometimes enjoy an argument because, man alive, I fought with myself while watching this movie.
Yeah. Which is fair because that's what Elizabeth Gilbert, our heroine, is doing as well.
Oh, is she fighting with herself or is she? Never mind. We'll save that.
We'll save the minutia of this conversation until later. We'll
yeah.
Start with the overview.
Yeah, so please, tell me a little... Your movie came first, 2003, Under the Tuscan Sun. Tell me a bit about that.
So this is a 1996 memoir, Frances May's Under the Tuscan Sun. It ended up becoming a 2003 romantic comedy film. So we are not talking about the books.
No, we're not talking about the books.
We're not talking about the books.
No,
we're going to talk about...
we know... You've read them both, but I have not read...
I did not read Under the Tuscan Sun.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But I did read Eat, Pray, Love. So I can't compare, but we're not going to do that because we're just talking about the film versions.
Yeah.
So if you listen or you know both really well and you're frustrated about certain characters not showing up and stuff like that, can't speak to that.
Yeah,
this is just the filmmaker's decision.
There's nothing I can do.
So in this situation, it actually was adapted and directed by Audrey Wells, the film. So she took this best-selling memoir. And so trying to think back to 1996, this seemed kind of a sort of, when I think about this idea of challenging yourself to go to another place, I think of there's those Provence novels, right? Where there was that guy the English guy who went and lived in France, and it was all about the quirky people that you meet, and how will I get my house built, and where do I find milk? I don't know, my ceiling's leaking. Oh, that kind of genre. I don't know if is there actually a genre?
Carlos called it, oh, you mean colonial memoirs? And I was like, actually, that's not a bad.
Because we've got some real savior stuff.
Oh, there's.
Coming on in these. So, there you go.
It's not a wrong description at all.
It is not a wrong decision. So, it's a very interesting beginning with Under the Tuscan Sun, I have to say, for a film, just in terms of wanting to get quickly to the action. We want to we want to go fast. Mm-hmm. Whereas in Eat, Pray, Love, there's a little bit of a little slower.
Well, to a certain extent.
To a certain extent.
Like, Under the Tuscan Sun, her life is upended in...
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
She's at a literary party. She's an author.
Yeah.
She is having a drink at this literary party.
Well, I think she's hosting it because she's the one who's just made the brownies. Like.
Oh yeah. Okay. She's at her house, and there's some author that she helped out, and he's launching his book and thanking her for her work. And then a snide, angry writer comes up and says, "You reviewed my book," he says in a very bitchy way.
Yes,
and she's like, "Oh, really sorry, did I not like it?" Which is, of course, what you're supposed to do. And he's like, "No, you didn't. Also, you said I was like a childish man who slept around. You should look at that with your husband." Yeah,
it's like, it is a blindside of epic proportions.
And then jump next scene. And there she is with Jeffrey Tambor, her lawyer, putting together her case for divorce.
Yeah, and the husband just wants
everything.
I was gobsmacked, honestly. Like that, I was like, this happen.
Your head is spinning like Linda Blair in The Exorcist. What? How did this happen so quickly?
Well, and you're thinking about all of the other people you know, and let's be honest, like for me, mostly women who have had these blind-siding, disruptions to their marriages.
Yes.
Like, just finding out of nowhere that everything you thought is a lie. Oh, my God.
Yes.
Heartbreaking.
No, it is. It is heartbreaking. And, you have to, if you're going to make a movie like this, you need to have someone like a Diane Lane.
Yeah.
That is just so lovely and so sympathetic and... Charming, and she really... just very believable. Mm-hmm. We see her leave to move into, I guess the Heartbreak Hotel would be basically where she moves to. Some sad building that they announce is where all the divorced people show up. It was literally a Simpsons episode when Milhouse's parents got divorced. Do you remember that?
I don't, but I believe you.
So the only thing that keeps you up at night... And for Milhouse's dad is the other men crying throughout the apartment, which is also very similar to Diane Lane's new home.
Yes.
And so it is a very dreary... I feel like she could have found something else if she'd looked. I don't know. I don't know what real estate in San Francisco is like, though.
I mean, in 96, it wasn't great. It's super bad now.
It's super bad now.
Yeah, 96, it still wasn't great. I was really... I don't know if charmed is the right word, but I was like, good on you, set decorator, because the pictures on the walls in her new apartment of sadness.
With the golf players.
Golf players.
But it had a weird layout. It was like a super high ceiling, and it was a very odd place.
Yeah.
So I guess we're getting a sense of, as we're going along, that we get a sense of Frances as being, is just a very careful... kind of keep her light under a bushel kind of woman.
Well, she's been a successful author, but she mostly reviews other people. She's like
and
a
does
critic.
some editing and critic, critique.
And teaches.
Yeah.
And the way that she's sort of set up that I found really interesting is that within 2 minutes we're to understand that she is sexually coveted by other men, and that she is an excellent baker because that's important to a woman's worth, and that she is this like inspiration to like her students, her former students.
Yes.
And then it all just goes away.
Yeah.
Suddenly because she's found out that her husband's having this like long-term affair, and likely also his young girlfriend is pregnant.
Yeah.
And they want the home that she has.
Although, keep in mind, and I don't know what was going on in 2003, but Diane Lane, 35? 35 has changed a lot.
I'm 38.
Yeah. I mean, we alluded to this whole wardrobe issue, but man, they are making her look like 55-year-old Frances McDormand in that Olive Ketteridge movie or something.
Yeah, I am admittedly confused about aspects of that whole, just like where she's supposed to be in her life.
That's what I felt very confused about too. I feel like maybe a little too much on the drab, to a point where you're like, can we see the other woman he liked just for
a minute? Well, we have that glimpse of her in the beginning. Like, she's got the nice outfit. She's got the upswept hair. Again, we see her objectified by, like, a variety of different people.
Yeah, and that makes us feel better about her.
I know. I was just like, oh, my God. So it's just, like, definitively the male gaze is being served on many levels here. But then we move into this, like, post, just... And again, that... Having your world upended, I am
some
very
dreary
sympathetic.
long cardigans with some Kleenex stuffed up the arm makes sense.
For sure.
You're right.
But like it really does not give me a very... I don't feel like I understand Frances very well.
No.
Except in opposition to and in survival mode.
Yes.
I have no sense of who she used to be, really.
No, that's a good point. I hadn't quite thought of it in those terms. We do know, though, because then we jump ahead to another scene of her giving all of the furnishings in this beautiful apartment to the ex. She doesn't want anything.
Yeah.
She has a box of books. That's all she wants. So we get this fresh start feel.
Yeah.
And then we go to her having dinner with her best friend and her partner, who hello, preview for Grey's Anatomy.
I know.
I didn't even, because the first time I saw that, there was no Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, Grey's Anatomy started. It's turning 14 this year, so it would have started that year.
That year, okay.
Yeah, and so
Sandra Oh and Kate Walsh.
Yeah,
are like a partner, like a couple.
Yeah, amazing.
And you're just what?
And I love Sandra Oh so much.
Oh, I do.
And this movie, she's just a breath of fresh air in every scene.
She is exactly who you want. If you are going through a terrible marriage breakup and you need a best friend, I'm sorry, Sandra Oh, I'm going to ask people to call you.
Absolutely.
Well, at the very least, your character, Patty.
Yeah, her character. Oh my God, I love it so much.
Yeah, she is lovely.
She's great.
So this is our moment, and when you're writing a screenplay or when you're writing a book, but we'll just say screenplay, when you're setting up that crucial moment, the moment where the character is going to say no to the life-changing decision. We have to see the no first, right?
Yeah.
To then see them accept it.
Yeah.
So this first happens is that Sandra Oh says, or Patty, let's just call her Patty. Patty's pregnant. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is so great. Stands up, I'm going to be an auntie.
Yeah.
Oh, such exciting news. However, the Sandra and Kate, let's go and call them that now. We're booked to go on a lesbian cruise, or a gay cruise, sorry.
They're supposed to go on a gay wine tasting of Italy.
Through Tuscany.
Yeah.
And because they can't go, they want Frances to take the ticket.
Because she's been sad for so long.
Because she's been sad and she needs to get out. Mm-hmm. And right away, of course, Frances says no.
Yeah.
This is a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want anything to do with this, which is very frustrating. I guess we know eventually she will say yes because there'll be no movie. But it's still very frustrating to watch her say no to everything.
Yeah.
I guess we're supposed to get a sense of, again, a little bit more drilled into us.
The defeated
feel.
Yeah.
The way the cardigan is just like...
Well, and let's just say, like honestly, this movie is too long.
Oh, yeah, that's very true.
I mean, Eat, Pray, Love's too long, too, by, like, even more.
Yes.
But this movie is way too long.
Yeah,
so, like, they could have cut, really, like, 20 minutes out of the first section and another 20 from somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, that's
and we have a tight 90. That's what I want to see from this film.
Yeah, no, it doesn't need to be, yeah, you're right. I probably paused a few times and got something to eat when I think about it. Because if you're playing along, these are both on Netflix.
Yeah, they are.
That's important to point out.
You can just pause this right now, go watch them both, and then come back to us.
Exactly. And so, of course, we know that Frances will ultimately accept the trip, and she does, after a heartbreaking moment back in the Heartbreak Hotel with some crying and screaming and pounding on walls.
I think she ends up on a floor.
Ends up on the floor. Yeah, it's not pretty. I would not get on that floor.
The floor looks disgusting.
So disgusting.
Like, I can't even imagine the crime scene that room is. It's disgusting.
Tears are the best thing that's happened to that carpet,
Absolutely.
Probably. Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh.
It is just gross.
Yes, and they've made us really believe that there's only men in there, too. So
Absolutely. Well, yeah, she's like this new, fresh meat who's, like, introduced, and it's just, Anyway, yeah.
So now we're in Tuscany. We're on the bus with our gay wine trip through Italy, having a fantastic time. As we all know, a gay trip through the Italian wine region.
It looks like a good time. It honestly looks like a good time.
Everybody knows Frances's situation, which was very tough. Gotta say.
That's the pre-announcement, like, so Frances is nursing major heartbreak.
Is straight.
She is a straight woman, and basically she's just sad.
Yeah, her husband left her, and
so now she's here with us.
She's wearing a baseball cap. That's never good.
Nope.
Nothing good's gonna happen there.
Nope.
Yeah, and so then we get to go and just watch Frances have some very, very sad moments.
Yeah.
Very, very sad moments. And then I guess you'd say destiny calls again.
Good Lord. Okay. This woman that she meets in
Lindsay Duncan?
Lindsay Duncan. So she meets this woman in this, like, market space. Sorry, I know that this is your story and I'm jumping in, but I can't help it.
No, go ahead.
I just, like, the fact that we spend 3 minutes watching this woman nuzzle a gosling to her face. And, like,
she's living La Dolce Vita.
Oh, my God. Like, no.
Well, that's...
No. And I like her, and I want to grow up to be a woman who dresses like Lindsay Duncan.
Yeah, I know.
And says cryptic things to strangers while
wearing
nuzzling
a large hat.
And nuzzling a gosling to my face.
You know, you're ignoring the fact that when we first met, I was nuzzling a gosling. And...
Yeah, but that was your pillow of Ryan
I know
Gosling.
It was,
so
and
I mean, that's
I was a little bit hurt now that you have just so dismissed my...
Can you imagine? You're like, Lars and the Real Girl was actually based on me and this pillow I've been carrying around about Ryan Gosling for forever. And then he found out about me. This is totally a sidetrack, but did you see the picture of Celine Dion seeing the tattoo of her face on a woman's back?
Sure did.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. That's an amazing tattoo.
So, and yes.
Alarming at the same time.
This is Ryan Gosling's journey with you, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. Exactly that.
Fine.
Yes.
Fine.
No, I see your point, but... But this is one of these movies that makes points in a very, very, very grand way. Yeah. They don't want you to miss anything. This is not subtle.
Oh, that's
actually
the most generous description I've ever heard of. This movie will hit you with a point until you're dead.
Yeah,
serving it in a grand way. That's a very generous
description. You're not picking up hints. You're not like at the end of the film going, oh, that was a weird time for her. I wonder what was going on. No, she'll say it out loud for you.
7 times.
7 times.
Yeah.
You know, some stories just have her writing a journal and you hear it out loud. No, she just says things to whoever's around.
Yeah. All right.
So this is our invitation to see what life could look like.
Yes.
Could look like if only you choose door number 1, door number 2,
so many doors.
A broken Italian villa on a hill.
Yeah.
That's our second.
She gets the villa.
She gets the villa.
Yeah.
And, of course, after having to go through that same process of, no, this is a terrible idea. And we thought, we just watched you do this.
Yeah.
And we will watch her do this throughout the whole movie.
I hope one day someone picks up this podcast and is like, why don't we have them explain things to the people who can't see?
Yeah.
I hope that one day we get to be those people, because the versions of movies that we describe are glorious, I think.
Oh, they are.
They really are.
They really are glorious.
They are far superior sometimes to the films themselves.
Oh, I would agree with you, 100%. So I think, now that, so then she buys a villa.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. It is...
Polonial or something like that.
Polanius, or is it a goddess of forgotten meats?
Forgotten meats?
Yes.
Wow.
A lesser known
goddess
saint.
of forgotten meats. Yeah. I would live in that home. I'm not going to lie to you. And I'm not even the biggest fan of salumi.
And here's the great part, is that the reason she's chosen is because a bird craps on her head.
Yeah.
So if a bird ever craps on your head, look around. Maybe there might be an Italian villa.
Look, I have had recently both a bird crap on my head. I also got like a bunch of flies caught in my hair.
No Italian villas?
No Italian villas have come my way. I mean, I do lead a somewhat charmed life, but I don't see an Italian villa.
No, many people don't. And but my grandmother, who was very superstitious, believed that you should not wash your window if a bird poops on it because it was good luck.
Ever?
Uh-huh. Till it wears right off.
Oh, what? Wow.
Yeah.
Did she live in a home with no windows?
No. Just couldn't see through them. Sadly, she was underneath a flight path.
I was just going to say, like,
Canadian
a flight path.
No, it was
like,
very
the
rare.
Crows.
It was very rare, but it was just, that was the instruction.
That seems like one of those superstitions you can buy into if it never affects you.
Yeah, it's very much like, I don't walk under ladders. It doesn't happen very often.
Exactly.
It's very rare.
But if you're like a window washer, you're just like, oh, God, what am I doing again today?
Also, that saved her from like washing a window, I suppose, too. But I think it's fair to say here we could just kind of stop because we're going to have a further debate about the real meat and potatoes of this movie.
Where their journeys sort of come together.
But I mean, so we
suffice to say, she's in Tuscany.
She's got a house. It's a ruin.
Yeah.
And now she's going to have to hire a Polish crew of builders and handymen.
Yep.
To help restore her villa.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it there.
Who all seem like nice men.
They do. They do seem like... Yeah. So back to Carlos's point about colonialism. She also exploits foreign workers.
She does.
So there's that, too.
No, it's for sure. And she shows up and buys a home with zero expectation and zero research and just expects a bunch of other people to help her figure out her new life.
Yeah. But what's exciting on another level is I'd like to know, so your dollar can really spread well in Tuscany, it seems.
I mean,
so not only can you afford a villa, but that you can afford a team of 4 handymen.
Yeah.
To work on it for several months. I mean, we didn't get months and months, right? We went through seasons, didn't we?
But it seemed like it, and
there were some winter scenes.
They make some really questionable sort of restoration decisions.
Taking out walls. Are they load-bearing walls? These people don't look like they know.
No one knows. No one looks at. I mean, you don't have to be a construction expert to understand that a load-bearing wall is a real thing.
Yeah.
In a home. It's there's a lot of stuff happening.
And then also learning to cook in this home and making lavish meals that look extremely expensive to me. Have you ever put on a dinner party that costs by the time everyone's left you figure I just spent $200?
Well, that's the thing. We know that she makes a good brownie, apparently.
That's it.
But that's all we know. We don't understand necessarily.
She wants to learn how to be a good cook, though, is what she says.
But the thing is, we don't understand that she actually is a travel and food writer.
Yes.
This is we don't really know that. Mm-hmm. And so suddenly she's gifted with this amazing capacity for just intuitively understanding the nuances of olive oil and pasta.
And these meals, I'm not talking that she puts out a couple of bowls of pasta or anything.
No. These are gourmet,
lavish plates from a cover of Bon Appetit or something.
Family style kind of meals.
Yeah.
So this is
with 6 or 7 different giant dishes.
Yeah, and this is bare bones nitpicking in terms of stretching the incredulity of many aspects of this movie. But
I didn't get a sense of money coming in.
Oh no!
I didn't know how it would
so
be.
She has been.
They sold her place in San Francisco.
Yeah, but like she put her husband through his work or whatever.
Yeah.
She paid for all of that. I guess she's sort of a somewhat successful writer.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe they paid book critics more at the time. But she sinks all of her money into this villa, and I mean, there's just again like. These journeys of privilege, I mean, this is one of the things that I think we'll definitely get into, but like I get why these are compelling stories and why it's important for women to have the opportunities to tell these stories, but there's such a specific and small percentage of who might get a chance to tell this story,
Yes.
Because it's never going to happen that way for anybody else.
No.
Like, it's completely inaccessible for so many people. But
sometimes I wonder if it, in both of these films, we'll get to Eat, Pray, Love as a description in a minute, but sometimes I wonder if they just need to be so beautiful for you to be distracted by the fact that there are really no stakes here.
Yeah.
There's no thing that's terrible that could happen.
Not really.
No, because this is all like about, yes, she's building a house, but really she's building herself up.
Yeah.
She's the ruin.
Yeah. Well, I think they literally say,
she probably
one of the
says
quotes
that.
is,
Yes,
I think, like,
exactly.
there's, actually, Eat, Pray, Love, that is one of the quotes. Ruin is a gift. Ruin is the road to transformation.
Yeah, see... there you go.
So, but I mean, this is a very stylized ruin.
Yeah.
It's certainly an emotional ruin, and it's certainly, I think in Elizabeth Gilbert's, it's a ruin she sort of invites upon herself a lot of times.
Yeah.
Most of the time. So yeah, it's like, but the thing, and we'll get to all of this for sure. But like, this is the thing that's so interesting to me because these movies, like when they sort of came out, especially Under the Tuscan Sun, really, it did feel like this kind of new moment because we are so used to seeing stories pertaining to women being, again, through that male gaze specifically, through stories of servitude to other people. They're in emotional service all the time. So to see a story about a woman who just decides to do something just for herself is kind of interesting.
No, there is nothing wrong with that, and that is a really great thing.
Yeah.
It's just that it's just that there's no real. It's not like watching Frodo trying to get the ring to Mordor. I'm like, if he doesn't make it.
But Lisa, she is the ring, and she is Mordor. Yeah. No, anyway.
Yeah, if she doesn't make it, civilization does not collapse, is what I mean. There's sometimes it feels like they're trying to say, like, this is really, really important and strong, and there's a storm outside. It's not.
No, it's a bit of manufactured drama here and there.
Exactly.
Whereas if they would just take her actual feelings seriously, you wouldn't need to put in a bunch of external fabricated things that aren't that important. Because, why don't we just allow a woman's experiences to be taken seriously as consequences? Yeah.
Agreed.
We don't need all the external stuff.
No.
So Eat, Pray, Love.
Yes.
That said. Eat, Pray, Love.
Right.
This is a tough one, guys. So I'm not gonna lie. It's oh boy.
You need a word to start things off with.
I know.
Just a word.
I know. So, I'm...
Do we both have... Correct me if I'm wrong. Do both of these movies start at literary parties?
Well, yes, they do. They do. Not the biggest surprise, since they're
guess
both
not.
writers.
They're both writers. I just all of a sudden... Sometimes we're looking for the comparison, so it's funny.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they both start with sort of this, positioning both women as being attractive to other men, being sort of compelling to other men in other capacities as well for their talent and whatnot. It's, again, both of these movies do certainly hammer home as a kind of variation on it's important to be important to other men.
In this particular situation, when I looked it up, also I was surprised to find out that I think Elizabeth Gilbert was like 28 or 29 when this happened.
Yeah.
When she went on this journey, right? Isn't that right?
It's early. I can't remember exactly how old she was, but it is early. Like,
okay.
If she'd cracked 30, I would be surprised.
Which is like not, I'm not trying to be ageist here or anything. It's just that when you're watching the movie, Julia Roberts
is not 30.
So it feels like a woman who's probably should know better. But
so you're saying if Julia Roberts had had her druthers together, and if Elizabeth Gilbert had just written this book a little bit earlier, we could have had this together.
It would have been her instead of Mystic Pizza.
Well, it was Mystic Pizza and then Pretty Woman and then Pelican Brief. So this could have been her Pelican Brief, perhaps.
Yeah. All I'm just saying is that you're feeling around. Perhaps you're feeling of being sympathetic to some of these life choices she makes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it's a sort of. Yeah, it's true. It's true. So anyway, Eat, Pray, Love. Elizabeth Gilbert is a writer, and she this is married based on her life. I'm gonna go with the film.
Well, this is a memoir. Yeah, these are memoirs.
These are memoirs. So Eat, Pray, Love. The film has stylistically no commas to separate Eat, Pray, and Love. Just a point of style that I'd like to address. Anyway, the film, Eat, Pray, Love. So Julia Roberts is Elizabeth Gilbert. She is married to Billy Crudup. He is a bit aimless, and he seems to be wanting to have this, maybe he's going to go back to school, and this is going to be so exciting. She, with just this dead look in her face, is like...
She takes the news as if he just said, I'm going to smash your face with a giant hammer.
Yeah, it's, this is the last thing that she wants, is for him to have yet another, what she feels is like this dead end area
Even
that
though he's
he
talking
ventures
about working
into.
With children.
Yeah, he
It doesn't sound like...
Like, none of it
Satan.
sounds that bad. Yeah, it's not...
I was thinking of getting into kiddie porn. It makes a lot of money. I mean, you get over the problems at the beginning,
well,
but,
I guess the expectation here is that, she's going to finance his continued exploration of finding himself.
Yeah.
And I guess she's not into that. Because she's already a successful writer. She's got plays in production and whatnot. She gets up in the middle of the night, has this sort of crisis of faith, even though she's never prayed before. She's just like, okay, God, let's do this. And again, the most low-stakes sort of crisis in the world. They've been married 6 years. They have no children. She wants to leave. You know what? Leave. Anyway, so she she comes back to bed. He says something sort of vaguely innocuous, and she's like, I'd like to end this marriage. And he's just blindsided. And so they go through the divorce. He doesn't want to give her a divorce. So every man Elizabeth Gilbert meets.
You forgot Viola Davis, who is also playing the part similar.
Viola Davis is the best friend.
Similar to Sandra Oh and Under the Tuscan Sun, with a child as well.
Yeah, but she gets so much less to do than Sandra Oh. She
does.
Just becomes this non-entity, which is such a waste of Viola Davis.
It is.
That she barely factors into it. I think one of the things I love... one of the things I appreciate about Under the Tuscan Sun is that everyone gets to be an actual sort of caricature. They're not always caricatures. Mm-hmm. Whereas Eat, Pray, Love is just a stack of stereotypes put in a flesh. It's just they're just skin wrapped stereotypes. That's all they are, and in service of Elizabeth Gilbert. So. Let me tell you how I feel. No. Anyway, so she, so her husband doesn't want to let go of her. She goes to see her own play, and she immediately becomes smitten with James Franco, the actor, who is saying her lines, and so she falls in love with him, and they end up in this heated affair, and he introduces her to his guru, who we never get to meet, of course, but they all, they end up in a crisis, and because Elizabeth Gilbert
because these men are hopelessly in love with her, Andrea. They are just...
And she is, well, there's an interesting, so this is interesting because she states specifically, Elizabeth Gilbert herself, that she just sort of becomes these men. And Viola Davis's husband actually says this. He's like, he's like, oh, when you were with your husband, you dressed like him, and now you're with David, and you dress like him.
Right, yeah.
And he's making sort of like an observational joke, and she's just like, oh, I am a nothing.
Yeah.
And that's true. And that is like, she does absorb these characteristics of these men. David is like deeply offended, and we're sort of meant to realize that he's not good for her and that their relationship is over. But for some reason, so she decides she's going to go on this like journey. She is going to...
And she gets a publishing company or whatever. She gets like an advance, right? That she can go on this journey, right?
Well, I don't know that she gets an advance because that's not clear to me in the movie.
Oh, okay. Well,
I thought she was just going to...
That's in the book.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I thought she had... A year earlier, she'd been in Bali, and she'd met this guy, he's also a spiritual leader, and he told her, come back in 1 year, you're going to lose all your money, come back in 1 year, and I'll tell you, like, the secrets to happiness or something. And so she decides that she's going to do this because she has lost all her money to her husband, allegedly. But, I mean, she obviously hasn't because she can finance 4 months in Italy, 4 months in India. She's going to go to this ashram. So she has become David so much that she's going to go steal his guru. Anyway. And then, I know you can't steal a guru, but I was just like a little bit like, oh, so you met this guy, you found out about his guru, and now you're going to go and just take his guru? Whatever. Come on, David. You should
hold on your own guru.
Yeah.
That's the life lesson from this movie.
Find your own.
Find your own guru.
Yeah, God. And then she's going to go to Bali again, and she's going to learn the secrets of happiness. And this is her big plan for distancing herself from these men in order to figure out her life. She's going to literally eat, pray. She doesn't know about the love yet, but, let's face it. Apparently, if you are Elizabeth Gilbert, you cannot go...
Men are just throwing themselves
at you all the time.
Which they are not doing it Under the Tuscan Sun.
I just, like, this...
No men are throwing themselves at Francis.
Poor Francis.
This depresses me now even more.
No, it's really...
I think it's the cardigans. I really do.
I mean, one does, but, I mean, that's, sort of a meet-cute thing. But yeah, so Eat, Pray, Love is just... So she's just on this journey, and this is like the whole movie. And there are so many times in my little notebook, like if I flip through it, like you can just all caps. I'm writing in all caps so much for my notes
like
for
why
this
is
movie.
Why?
Why?
I know there's a lot of why.
There's so much I mean, at the very least, in Under the Tuscan Sun, I wanted to eat all of the food that Francis was making.
Yeah.
In Eat, Pray, Love, they make food look horrible.
Yeah, well, and...
How can you screw up beautiful
pictures? And then she always manages to meet these people that just can't wait to give her everything. Now, perhaps, watching Elizabeth Gilbert's career, she seems to find these people all the time that are just... And she, her TED Talks and the whole... 9 yards, and maybe I just don't understand it. Maybe people are throwing themselves at her all the time.
I mean, maybe it's fully possible. Like, there have been occasional times where I've seen a quote from Elizabeth Gilbert float through my, Instagram feed, and I'm like, oh, that's neat. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, she's got a wit about her. That's fine. There's just something, but so I have to defend this movie.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching this, and man, have I come up with some great defenses. Like, I cannot wait actually to defend this movie because I don't know that you could watch this movie and hate it more than I did.
Yeah.
And then for me,
I think it was very, very poorly received. So I think you're right there with everybody else.
But those people didn't have to then defend it as being the better of the two movies. But I think I've come up with I'm going to drop some truth bombs. And I'm going to it's going to be good. And I just cannot wait to defend this movie.
No, it's tough. It's tough because part of me wants to just Eat, Pray, Love be the one defending it now because there's something a little bit more honest about how angry she is about an idea of a happy ending having to be falling in love with a man.
That she's
rejecting that. She's resisting it at all turns. Whereas in Under the Tuscan Sun, we are well aware where we're headed.
This is what she wants.
This is what she wants. And doesn't have to be something wrong with that. But we know that this is how rom-coms end. This is how we know that.
But then think about like how both movies upend that. So like Under the Tuscan Sun, she doesn't get her romantic ending necessarily.
Well,
I mean, she does end up meeting
Christopher
Rory's
from
dad.
Gilmore. Yeah, I was.
Oh my God,
yeah.
did I tell you what I found out about Rory's dad?
He's from here.
No, well, I know that, but like he's sorry, that sounded dismissive.
Oh.
No, I looked at his Twitter feed and he's got like some serious MRA tendencies. Like he hosts good men's groups, but they're not really
good men.
They're not really good men's groups, and it is.
He had a devilishly
alarming.
sweet smile at the end of that movie. Are you telling me you didn't feel like that was that the movie was saying that this was going to be her new love?
Well, I guess yes. I'm sorry. I actually, you know what? I totally forgot about it because the first fake ending, which is that she's going to be fine with being on her own.
Yeah.
And she hosts this wedding.
Yeah.
And then
Look, Francis, you have already had a wedding.
Yes.
You've already had a
Children,
baby. You've
yeah.
had food.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of that Grey's Anatomy tie-in, like at Under the Tuscan Sun, at one point, like she's like, when her and Patty are having a talk, she's like, "No, Patty, you are my love. Like you are my true love."
Yeah.
And that's a very Grey's Anatomy thing that actually happens.
You're my person.
You're my person.
Yeah.
So like I like. Anyway, yeah. So, but
I like that idea, but I really don't think that's how Patty's going to live her life.
No, Patty needs to find love too.
Patty's going to find
anyway,
love.
But yeah, so like Eat, Pray,
right.
Love, like it posits that she's so angry about having to like, or like, you know, oh, it's so inconvenient to me that I've met this amazing person who understands me and just wants to like, and he specifically states, you don't need a man, you need a champion. Like, I mean, this is like sort of a heart-melty nonsense dialogue.
Yeah.
And still...
This is you complete me. This is the thing that...
Well, because it just feels like it's fake. Like, it feels like she's not actually that... And again, I haven't read the book, so I don't know. But, like, it feels like she's... Like, this is manufactured kind of nonsense where she has, like, spent this year on this road, realizes that she sort of defines herself in opposition to the various men, et cetera, et cetera. She's sort of finally maybe coming into her own a little bit. I don't know. She's doing occasional selfless things and occasional. And, you know, and then she meets this, like, amazing person who is Javier Bardem.
Oh, man.
I know. So freaking dreamy.
Crying, too. I mean, it was too much.
I know. It's just the darlings. I just want
Billy Crudup, James Franco, and Javier Bardem.
See, Billy Crudup does not do it for me.
Really?
At all.
And
all.
Nothing?
Nothing.
I know personally we have had this discussion about his personal choices. Yeah. But even in Almost Famous?
Nope, nothing.
Really?
Nothing, just a genital dry land. It's just awful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's like forest fires burning through.
Ooh,
nothing.
Okay. Well, that's good because if we meet him, then I get him.
You have him.
There we go.
Have him.
That was easy.
It will not be as easy in the next episode.
Yes.
I cannot wait to fight about these movies.
I look forward to that as well.
Yeah.
And that is coming up in part 2.
Part 2 of Pop This.
It's Our Own Lady's Journey. Which sounds like the name of a feminine hygiene product, doesn't it?
I love it.
Lady's Journey.
Lady's Journey.
A lady's journey into yourself shouldn't have to smell bad.
Oh, God. I think that they specifically stay away from the word smell when they're talking. It's like the scent, odor.
Scent. Odor?
Yeah, I know odor's not better, but they don't say the word smell for some reason, I think, in most of those.
A lady's journey shouldn't have to offend others.
A lady never inconveniences anyone else on her journey. There's, you know what?
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we're available for your ads.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I can't wait to fight about this with you. So we always love to end our episodes on something we recommend. I recently had the greatest experience of my life.
Oh my. A
lady's journey.
Uh-huh.
This is a journey I've been on since I was like 3 years old.
Okay.
So I genuinely believed I was Miss Piggy.
Oh.
For a long time when I was a kid.
Oh.
I've loved her my whole life.
Is Carlos your Kermit?
He is to a certain extent. He really is. He really is. Just a gentle soul, minus all the toxicness between Piggy and Kermit.
And he's not green.
Well, he is not green. No,
he is not.
No. But also, Kermit always had that sort of like weird fronting thing, like I don't like you. You're a pig.
Yeah. Okay.
No, Carlos he's 100%.
Yeah.
Team me.
Yeah.
So minus all that, but I have loved Miss Piggy forever and ever and ever, and I went to the Jim Henson exhibit at Mopop in Seattle. It's on until the end of September, I believe, and I would like to highly recommend if you're on the West Coast and you can get there and that's an option for you, go. It's
really?
worthwhile. I love it so much. I like literally. It's not even that big. Like it's like 7 or 8 rooms. There is no actual Miss Piggy Muppet costume or Muppet, but they have so many they have Kermit and they have the Count and they have so it's Jim Henson through the years. So you find out so many things about his life that you just never knew. You see
Is it a traveling exhibit or like
it is? I think it is a traveling exhibit, and right now it's been in Seattle since I think June, and so I think it's there till the end of September, and you find out so many things about his life, including, and this is something that was really fascinating to me. He actually started all of the Muppet sort of stuff with his wife, Jane Henson. And in about 68... Jane and Jim. And in about 68, she bowed out to raise their kids.
Oh.
And so and I really appreciate the curators specifically include her in everything up to a certain point. Mm-hmm. And then I noticed she just disappeared. And I was like, well, either she bowed out to raise kids, which is, something that happened a lot in the 60s, obviously, or they ended up getting divorced or something. And so I read a bit more about her afterwards. And so she bowed out, but she was still involved. And she, helped set up, all of, Jim Henson Associates and, Henson Associates, I think it was called eventually. And they separated in 86, 4 years before he died, apparently. But she was still with him. She was with him when he died. And they had this really it sounds like a really lovely relationship. I want to know so much more about Jane Henson now. But this Henson exhibit is so great. I got to stand in the facade of the Muppet Show.
They're don't, I can't sing it.
It's so... I literally turned the corner, saw this facade, and just started crying immediately. Then, as I was standing under the facade, they played Rainbow Connection.
Oh.
I was a mess. I was an emotional mess.
So if that's what you want to do, that's what you're recommending?
Yes.
An opportunity to have an emotional mess in public.
And also just also I would love to do one of our, the episode we did about Mary Tyler Moore or the episode we did about Betty White. Mm-hmm. I would love to do one dedicated to Miss Piggy. I don't know if you feel strongly enough about it.
Yes.
But
I support you.
She's really... It's really amazing to me when I go back and watch old Muppet episodes on YouTube. The number this is very weird, but again, we're speaking to the 70s and 80s and stuff. And so we're seeing all of these male celebrities that came on the Muppet Show. Almost all of them are trying to seduce her.
Yeah.
And it was really informative to my concept of what could be sexy, I think, growing up. Even though, Muppet-human relations are maybe weird, but it was actually more about her body shape and her body size. It wasn't prohibitive to anybody finding her attractive. The understanding was that she was attractive, and all of these other celebrity males got it, even though she still wanted Kermit. There's a lot of screwed up dynamics there. But anyway, and I saw her pink satin gloves.
Oh, well, there you go.
And anyway, go see the Henson exhibit. It's great.
I will.
Yeah.
All right. My recommendation, not quite as passionate. I mentioned off the top of the episode that I was engrossed in a book, which I'm really enjoying, and it's called The Nix by Nathan Hill. It is an epic it's sprawling, different characters, getting inside their head, telling the story from so many different perspectives. It really makes me think of my favorite novel, which is Middlesex.
Oh, yeah.
By Jeffrey Eugenides.
Yeah.
You read that?
Yeah.
And did you love it?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and just this introducing us to certain characters, taking us back to where they started. You don't know really who we're going into next. We're following one person. Anyway, a brilliant first novel. Nathan Hill, I was reading his 40s, so I think this took him 8 to 10 years.
Wow.
To write.
Good job, Nathan.
Yeah, so good job and really enjoying it. And in fact, I'd like to get going now and read it. So maybe
Okay,
I'll do
well,
that.
wait, we have to record part 2.
Oh, right. Okay,
Part two.
Okay, part 2.
You can hang out with us on Twitter, on Facebook, on social media. You can also, if you'd like, we have a Facebook event that we have put up on our page, and we will also have Eventbrite up probably by the time this comes out, so you can reserve your ticket to our live taping of our 103rd episode.
103rd.
Yeah, 103rd episode. We couldn't get the room for 100. So 103rd episode.
103rd is 3 better than 100.
Honestly, it's going to be
We're
so good.
going to be that much better.
So good.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope you can come.
Yeah, I can.
Will you come?
I can come.
Good.
Friday, October 20th here in Vancouver, and we'll have more information on our Facebook page and on our Twitter.
And we record the podcast right here in Vancouver at the Vancouver Public Library. Andrea Gin is our producer, and look forward to seeing you all next episode.
Absolutely, me too.
Or back, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
You
if you
can
have
listen
to
any
skip the
order
next
you
one.
want.
Yeah, we can't tell you what to do.
Can't stop you.
But you should come back and listen to the next one, because I swear.
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale, and I can't wait to defend this movie.
Part 2.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.